Coming up this week, RElaunch. Hello everyone, and welcome to our Sunday spoilers. We know how important worship is and how important that time is for us to be able to be gathered together to worship God. We have a desire to learn about God, to know God in our lives. Worship is an opportunity for us to be able to do that. Worship is an opportunity for us to express our joy, to celebrate together who we are, to celebrate what God is doing in our lives. And it's a time to encounter God. We don't want to just show up and just watch the show, because it's not a show. It's something that we're all connected to. It's something that we all participate in. And so that when we prepare ourselves, I think we're more able to receive what it is that God has for us on that day. So we're going to continue our series this week. Actually, we're concluding our series this week, The Power of Re, and this week we're looking at RElaunch. So all the things we've been looking at before were kind of gearing us up for this. That when we refocus, when we re-engage, when we reconnect, all these things help us to kind of see a vision of what God has for us, to see a vision of maybe a path that God has for us, a path that we follow as we live out our lives each and every day. But we know that ultimately, faith is about doing something. Faith is about living a life. Faith is about sharing a good news. Faith is about being the hands and feet of Christ. And so when we think about relaunch, that's kind of how I see relaunch. It's about launching ourselves into the world, finding a better way of being that presence of God, finding a way to be a better way, finding a way to live that better each and every day, so that when people see us, they see something special. They see the light that God brings to us. They see just something that helps us to have a new perspective on life. We want to be able to share that. And when we launch ourselves into the world, that gives us a chance to do that. The text we're going to be using is from the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 17, verses 1 through 8. After 6 days, Jesus took with him Peter, James, and John, the brother of James, and led them up a high mountain by themselves. There he was transfigured before them. His face shone like the sun, and his clothes became as white as the light. Just then there appeared before them Moses and Elijah, talking with Jesus. Peter said to Jesus, "Lord, it is good for us to be here. If you wish, I will put up 3 shelters, one for you, one for Moses, and one for Elijah." While he was still speaking, a bright cloud covered them, and a voice from the cloud said, "This is my Son, whom I love. With him I am well pleased. Listen to him." When the disciples heard this, they fell face down to the ground, terrified. But Jesus came and touched them. "Get up," he said. "Don't be afraid." When they looked up, they saw no one except Jesus. I think sometimes the word transfigured kind of shakes us on this story. We're not sure what to make of that. But I think if we kind of see this as a vision, something that Jesus is showing to these 3 disciples, Peter, James, and John. He's gathering these 3 disciples to show them who he is. So a way to think of it is that they're seeing him in kind of a new way. They're seeing him as the Son of God. They're seeing him in his glory, is another phrase that we've used. It's about light. It's about beauty. It's about all these wonderful things. They hadn't seen that before. And all of a sudden, Moses and Elijah are there, and they're on this mountaintop. And we talk a lot about mountaintop experiences. They had a mountaintop experience where they saw this beautiful thing. And I think the thing that kind of key in on for us is what they wanted to do, what the disciples wanted to do. Now imagine you just saw this amazing thing. You witnessed this incredible thing, this vision that just warmed your heart and made you feel amazing. They wanted to stay there. Peter says, let's put up some tents. Let's build some shelters. This is beautiful, Lord. This is beautiful. We want to stay here. But God interrupted that. In mid-sentence, God interrupted Peter saying, "This is my Son, listen to him." If you think about what Jesus has been saying throughout his ministry, it's about going. It's about going into the world. It's about living this life. It's about helping people see this and loving each other and taking care of each other and bringing peace into the world. That's the call. But they wanted to stay there in that moment and just stay there on that mountaintop, because we all know what the valleys are like. The valleys can be depressing. The valleys can be filled with grief. The valleys can be filled with the unknown. They wanted to stay up there. But the next verse says, as they were coming down the mountain, and they were able to see it, and they launched themselves into the world. They launched themselves into the valleys, where the true work of ministry happens. So a way to think about this for us, what does that look like for you? How is Jesus launching you into the world? What has Jesus shown you that helps you to see things, that helps you to see Jesus and to see the beauty that surrounds him? How are you able to find a way to launch with what you've seen, with what you've heard, what you felt, and make a difference in this world? As we gather together to worship this weekend, we know that God will give us a glimpse into what that can look like. And I look forward to being able to do that together with you. As we as the body of Christ, as we as the church, as we as the people of God, together launch ourselves into this place where God is giving us all that we need and equipping us to make a difference. Have a great and blessed week, everyone. We'll see you back here next time.